Moore Law is underwritten in the public interest by the Moore Law Firm, a legal professional association. This is Moore Law on Fox 19.
Good morning. When you get hurt by a product, it is natural to look for somebody to blame, but who is really at fault? You can look at the manufacturer, the store that sold it, or maybe even yourself. Product liability claims can be tough to prove and expensive, but if you've been injured by a product, from a child's toy to a home appliance to an airbag, give us a call at 513-421-4691. We're taking your questions, as always, live. Don Moore, good morning.
Hey, how you doing, Deb?
I'm doing good on Christmas Eve.
I know. Are you all set?
I am all set.
I understand.
Finally.
The family all together for the first time in a while?
All together, my side of the family for the first time in about 10 years on Christmas Day, so that'll be really nice.
That's very cool. We're going to have a bunch of family in too. Today we've got a really good show, and I wanted to get right to some of the subject matter. We've got a great guest as well. The first thing I wanted everybody to have a chance to see is a website, and you may even go to the website perhaps during the show if you've got the ability. The website recalls.gov. That's a big deal. Let me talk to you just for a second about some of the stuff that's gone on recently. The Consumer Protection Agency has filed suit over deadly infant recliners, 50,000 bath seats recalled over drowning hazard, 10,000 baby jogger strollers required, Home Depot bucket mugs, 457 LG washers. My goodness. The list goes on and on. If you go to the website we just showed you a minute ago, they have list after list. You name the product, whatever it is, and there's tons of toys on it. This is a big deal, and frankly, I don't think anybody realizes how extensive it is until they actually go and investigate it a little bit. So what we've done in preparation to this show is we got a very good friend of mine, Rick Schulte. Rick, welcome. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Don.
Good morning. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, good to be here, Deb.
Rick is a product liability attorney. I've known him for a long time. His offices are in Dayton. He has a national practice, and he handles product liability cases all over the country. He does an awful lot of bad drug cases. He does hip and knee implants, and many other cases, many other types of cases as well. Rick, I'm really glad you're able to come.
Thanks, Don, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Look forward to answering some questions about products liability and the way that attorneys can help people that have been injured by bad medical devices, bad pharmaceuticals, and other bad products.
Well, we see tons of commercials all the time from attorneys advertising about, let's say, bad drugs and things like that. How's a person know if they've had a bad drug?
Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to ask yourself, were you injured by this drug and was it significant? Oftentimes I'll get calls from people where they bought something where it just doesn't work. And those aren't the types of cases that attorneys typically get involved in. They get involved when there's a serious injury related to that product.
So, go ahead.
I was just going to say, how does somebody know when it's time to come to you, as opposed to, this was my fault, I, mishandled this product, or when is it time to see if there's some kind of a case? If
you're in doubt, you need to contact an attorney that specializes in handling product liability cases.
And there aren't very many of you. You mentioned that you're just kind of all scattered across the country because it's so specialized, I guess?
There's typically specialized area. We spend most of our time at our firm working on medical device cases, pharmaceutical cases, working on Imprellis herbicide cases that was sprayed on folks' yards that killed their trees. We're working on shape-up toning shoe cases, where these shoes, I'm sure you've seen some of the people wear them, where people are getting serious injuries as a result of the rocker bottom on those shoes. And so there's just a whole variety of different products, and you're simply not going to be able to know by just getting on the internet. There's people specialized in this area that understand whether there's an actual claim out there, a way to make a recovery and try to make that person whole as a result of that bad product.
Okay. All right, let's go to the phones now. Let's start off with Adam in Florence. Good morning, Adam.
Hello.
I'm doing fine. How are you?
All right, how are you?
Very good, thanks. Go ahead.
So, me and my fiance took my daughter to a restaurant, and we got a magnetized toy for her, and there was a nail that was actually stuck to the magnet that was on it. And nobody got hurt or anything, but I was just wondering what we should do.
You know, that I can tell you that, Adam, that's a common thing, especially with the little cheap toys that people give away. They're often imported. the quality control is poor. However, if there's no injury, there's no damages. If there's no damages, there's no case. So that's kind of an easy call. Lucky, because there's a lot on these recall lists I just showed a minute ago, and if you go on to the recalls.gov, there's a ton of magnetized toy cases, or at least problems, defects, and if someone ingests one of those, it can really cause them trouble, even if there's not a nail attached to it.
Okay. All right, let's head to Delbert in Goshen. Delbert?
Yes.
Please go ahead with your question.
Yes. I have a knee implant. It's a Zimmerman knee implant, and I'm trying to find out a lawyer to take the case. I had a couple of lawyers before, and they said there was no recall on my knee. I'm wondering how I talked to a lawyer about taking this case to court, trying to find out if I got a case or not.
That's a really good question. He basically, there is no recall, but he's got a defective knee implant. What's he do about that?
Just because there's not a recall, and just because the FDA has not got involved and issued a recall or investigating a product, doesn't mean you don't have doesn't mean that you do not have a defective knee implanted. You need to get to an attorney that specializes in handling medical device litigation. Typically, the way you find out, Don, whether that product has any issues is you have to get product ID. And the way you do that is you have to get your surgical report. And on that surgical report, there'll be a number or a lot number, or what we call a barcode number, that you can track that product. And oftentimes you can get online and track that product. But to be honest with you, you're probably going to need an attorney to track down whether or not that knee is one of the knees that is having problems and attorneys are pursuing cases.
It gets complicated, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oftentimes I get calls from clients and they say, well, I've talked to 2 attorneys. The problem is those attorneys didn't actually check the product ID and they're not specialized in that area. So you really need to get to an attorney that understands how to verify product identification.
Okay.
Very good.
Great. We are going to take a break right now. We'll be back. Give us a call, 513-421-4691.